darkness, the nothingness, and the void. And it was written, he said, let there be light. And there was light. Holy are you, you are holy forevermore. Father, O Holy One who is and there is no other, I praise you, I glorify you, I ask that you send the angel of your presence before me, O living one. I ask that you bless this message, O living one. I ask, oh Father, that you open up the hearts of the people so they will know you. You are. I ask you let a burning fire, let it ignite their souls and let them know that you are holy forevermore, and you have come to bring your people home to you. You are the mightiest, you are the brightest light. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy existence, and even so thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is even done on this earth as it is before your throne. Give us this day our daily fill. Forgive us all we have done that has offended thee, and teach us to forgive and be merciful like thee. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever and ever. Amen. Oh, wow. You know, our Father is holy, righteous, and mighty, and great. Oh, and He enjoys. He wants to be with us again. For the famine of hearing His voice is over. We don't realize it, but it is indeed over. And He is getting ready to turn His face around. But we've got to start preparing the people for that day. Because it's coming. It's coming quickly. And everyone's hearts have got to be pure towards the Most High and before Him. No evil on that day. No evil. Everyone must get on their knees and fall on their knees and fall on their faces even. And beg forgiveness so that His vengeance does not consume the earth. So today what I am working on, what I am going to teach on is, according to prophecy, the one that comes is called the Abomination to make desolate. And what it says about this one is this one will understand dark sentences. Now, what we have always been taught, we've been taught to look at the very end to see this. But what we don't realize is, no, he already came. And his name was Paul. And I know a lot of you are like, what? And those of you that are in the know, you know that what I am speaking is true. But how do you show the people that it is true? That is the question. So, as I said in an earlier video, that this is the year of revealing all truth. And a part of revealing this truth is having to go before the churches again, as it is written. We know that John will go before the churches another time in the end times, in the last days, the Spirit of John, and testify to the churches so that they can't say they were never told, or they weren't aware, or they didn't see it, they didn't hear it, they didn't know. No, you know. If you hear this video, you know, because I'm plainly telling you. Plainly telling you. So let's look at the understanding dark sentences part. I'm going to show you something that you don't see. Now, Yahshua had sent the tongues of fire to the 12 disciples, right? And now I am going to say something that may be a little controversial to some, but some just research it, look at it. But they all ended up dead, right? Now, when I was going through scriptures 20-some years ago, I found that it was ironic that Paul seemed to be present each time each one of them was murdered. And even I think it was Stephen, where the murderers came and placed his belongings at the foot of Paul. Which a lot of you, I don't think, realize that back then, that's what happened if someone hired you to murder someone. You placed their belongings at their feet to show them that you had successfully completed the mission. But I digress. I don't want to go there. That's not where I'm going today. Where I'm going today is those 7 spirits, the original anointing was split up into 7. So each church ended up with a spirit. Now, ironically, when Revelations was written, I couldn't figure out how they knew there would be seven churches. And then it dawned on me as I did more research, I realized, no, they existed from the get-go. When Yahshua walked, they already existed. That someone had already manifested them and made sure they existed. One of those little known things that came to my attention in Father taking me through. So, here you are, 7 churches, 7 spirits, and each spirit possesses an angel of the presence of the Most High. So then you had Paul, once they were all murdered, and he wrote the letters. I don't think you realize that those letters were intentional. You know, we're going to make this like letters. 2 churches he wrote to twice. Apparently he realized that the way he wrote it wasn't going to work. Right? So what he did was he riddled some truth into these letters, and then he riddled some lies into them. Right? But what he did was he put dark sentences in. Now let me explain the tongues. The tongue. That tongue of fire is the tongue of the Most High that is manifest on the earth, a part of the Ruach HaKodesh, a part of that spinning tunnel of fire that was with the children of Israel when they were going to the mountain to meet the Most High. Okay? And this is a tongue, meaning it's a tongue of creation. Now Solomon spoke that in his writings, he put that the power of life and death is in the tongue, meaning the tongue is a tool of creation. So that's why Yahshua, when he spoke, he spoke that at some point. That, you know, some stuff has been pulled out of the writing, so I don't know if that's still in the writings, but he said to say yea, yea, nay, nay, all else is evil. And that was his hint to us that when we possess one of those spirits, you know, we must learn to control our tongues, because we possess a gift of life and death. Okay? And that's why he said that. So, Paul could see that, wow, this is the power of the living, the Holy One, the one with all the power, you know. This is the gift. This is a part of it. And Yahshua is going to send it to the disciples, or has sent it to the disciples, and he wanted his hands on it. So he wrote, when they passed, he figured out how to make sure they were separated into 7 churches, okay? And then he wrote these letters. And he put dark sentences in these letters that you don't see. And I'm going to give you an example. The Satan can come to you as an angel of light. That's a dark sentence. Because if you speak that and you possess a tongue of creation, you're creating that. He never had that authority or that power ever. He never had that. He does now because you've all created it, because of Paul. Paul tricked you into using the power of the living Yahweh to create a kingdom for the Satan, to create a kingdom for himself as well. So, another one is, do you not know that we will judge the angels? That's a wicked, dark sentence. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Yahshua, when he spoke, he said that in the last days, harvest time, the angels were going to come and they were going to separate the tares from the wheat and bundle them up and cast them into the lake of fire. Yahshua gave them that authority, but now Paul is trying to give himself or you authority to judge those that the Most High, that Yahshua brought forth to bring those tares into bundles. And I rebuke it. I rebuke Paul. And you can't see that he was busy trying to change the outcome of the last days, okay? He knew prophecy. He knew the things that Yahshua had said to the disciples. He knew those things. He knew what the end was going to be like. And he, through the letters, got you to believe that the first thing, I had told you in the video yesterday that the New Testament is basically a spell book. It is. It is. And you can't see that it's a spell book. And the scripture where it was written, he was the Word in the flesh, and the flesh was with him, and he was with, from the beginning. That's a spell. He wanted you to believe that the Word is the beginning, was the beginning. Therefore, his letters become the Word also, okay? He wanted his letters to be a part of creation. So you had to believe that in order for him to be able to riddle the dark sentences into scriptures for you to believe and create it for him using your tongue of what you possess. The gift you possess, he tricked you into using that to create for him and the Satan. And he used dark sentences to do that. He said, follow me while I follow the Christ. But that's not what Yahshua said. He said, take up that cross and follow me. People aren't realizing he spoke opposite of what Yahshua taught. He spoke opposite of what the Most High, the living one, the one who is and there is no other, taught his people. So he's busy writing these letters for each of the churches so that and the way he did it, this is why he did it the way he did, he wanted to make sure that you possessed that spirit, but not any of the others, okay? So he gave you the righteous things for this church so that you would be able to hold the spirit of that church, where he put it. Then he riddled the evil stuff in there so that you weren't able to possess any of the others, okay? because he understood something. He understood that if you possessed one, he was very crafty, very crafty. If you possess this one, chances are high that that spirit will call the other six, and you'll end up with the day of Pentecost again, and that he didn't want. So he was very clever in how he designed the letters, how he designed that New Testament, how he designed everything. He designed it in a way that, you know, the preacher of this church baptizes you, and if you possess the good thing to possess that, then you would come up speaking in that tongue. But if not, you wouldn't come up speaking in, maybe you possess the good things of this kingdom, or this church, or that spirit, or that spirit. And that's why some people come up speaking in tongues, and some do not. So, oh, Father, you are holy. So basically, Paul is the one that brought forth and understood the dark sentences. He understood that if he put just enough righteousness to possess, for this church to possess this spirit, he could riddle the dark sentences, so that they, whoever's in this church, would use this spirit to create for the Satan or for himself. A lot of you, with the things that you speak for the Satan, you make him a god, you know, and Father said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And you try to make him the god of evil, and that's what Paul, a part of what the plan was for you to create a kingdom for the Satan. So, now the abomination can make desolate. So if you possess a tongue of creation, and you say the world is going to end, well, you're saying the world, you're creating the end of the world, okay? You're creating the end of things. Pay attention. Father created everything for his glory. And if the earth is destroyed, right, like you want it to be, and the people of the earth destroyed, then you are creating the destruction of the glory of the living Yahweh. That is the abomination to make desolate. That is the wicked thing, the evil thing. And Paul is the one that helped you escalate there. People use the seven spirits to create wealth, right, in these churches. They use the seven spirits for everything under the sun except for what they were designed for. See, what we're not getting is Yahshua, as I said before, he was instrumental in pulling, that's the power of the holy people right there. He was instrumental in pulling the seven spirits from that rock, you know, under the temple, from the temple. And then he sent it to the 12 disciples, right? Because only the people of the, you know, of the covenant could possess that, of the covenant of the time, which was broken. But because it was broken, the power of the holy people could not remain there because the temple had to be destroyed. So, so what he did, so what Paul did was he saw an opportunity and he's like, "Ooh, I can get we can get our hands on that power and create." And that's what the whole purpose of his letters. That was the whole purpose of those letters, was for him to riddle the dark sentences in there and the lies and some truth, so that you can possess one of these spirits. Okay. I'm going to pause for a moment and talk to Father for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something that you don't know. In the original scriptures, the angel of the presence spoke to all of the churches and threatened to take the spirit or the candlestick from each of the churches. So, somewhere along the line, someone changed it to make it look like, oh, there's only a few churches that it's taken from. No. He gave a warning to each and every one of the churches, but some of them have been removed. But the reason those writings were put in Revelations to the churches was so that you could look at it and say, okay, for instance, the one where it says, I have one thing against thee, you have left your first love. So who is the first love? The first love would be Yahshua, okay? But your love has become Paul. Paul is your love now, instead of Yahshua being your first love. Because he was the one that was the light that brought you, that helped you to come here. So, they were designed to help you guys, help us, help all of us. But now they have been tampered with. So, I think I'm going to leave that right there for right now. But know this, that the letters of Paul have the dark sentences in them. He is the one that prophecy spoke of. He will understand dark sentences. And he put them to use in the letters. And he is the abomination to make desolate, because he wants you to use the seven spirits to destroy the earth and destroy people and destroy, for a long time, the Jews. It was anti-Semitic so much. Whereas Father made it clear that in the last days it's his people that he's going to bring to him. And this is so. This is true. I know firsthand that day is coming real soon. So praise you, O living one who is, for being with us again. Father, I thank you. I'm not perfect in putting, when I start teaching, then I start forgetting and stuff. I'm just not the greatest teacher in the world. But I attempt to help the people to see, as it was poured into me, this is the year of revelations, the year of revealing truth and the hidden things coming to the light, because there's no one like unto thee, and everything works according to thy will and thy purpose and thy glory, and you are holy forever. Open the eyes and the ears of the people, Father. And your people that are in this kingdom, let them come out of it. Bring our people out of the kingdom. There shouldn't be many Gentiles left on this earth. But I pray that those in this kingdom turn their faces to you again, as in the days of old, before you sent them into this kingdom and made them forget who they are. Praise you, O living one. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy existence, and even so thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on this earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses against thee. Teach us to forgive others the same way you forgive us, Father. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. In the name of the Holy Lamb, the one with the seven eyes, which are your seven spirits, whose name on this earth was Yahshua, but in your kingdom nobody knows his name but thee, but moreover in your name, Yahweh. Praise you, Father. Amen. Father, be glorified forever and ever.